Uh,
Okay,
so,
so my first thought after watching the ending twice is it's really weird that the dice lady
twice.
with no face,
Oh, that bit with the sun.
the dice with lady with no face is the first one to react because she has no face. And
Those
it
are
takes a little bit of the emotional impact out of it when the first face you see doesn't have a face.
the pips are eyes.
I know, but I mean, there's no human face to take in the like happiness of it. So, I don't know whether this came out because of backlash to how the endings felt.
I pray
Not
it
so
didn't.
positive. I I'm hoping that this was planned all along.
Because
But the
otherwise,
fact that it took
otherwise they have the feeling of, oh, you didn't like the ending? Fine, here, I'll fix it for you, which feels disingenuous in a sense.
well, they could have realized the interpretation after the fact too.
Right.
But I'm wondering whether it was the first idea or that the backlash made them realize, whoa, this isn't quite as optimistic as I was hoping people would feel it was. Um, Although, with that said, the original release with the being able to kill Nico does demonstrate that it was a lot bleaker when it began.
However, did you know that the original was made in 1 month?
Was it a game jam?
Yes.
I believe it.
Which is, well, it was pretty good for 1 month.
Yeah, very. I now know what was meant by the people who I was talking to about the game when they said that this ending was more satisfying.
Are you satisfied?
I suspected it would be more satisfying simply because of the fact that the ending before did feel so unsatisfying. It's another one of those games like Undertale that I do agree. Once you've finished it, unless you're going to finish it the good ending again,
there's no reason.
To go back.
Right. No, I am content.
Yeah, I agree on that. I did want to see the other ending in a sense, but it's on YouTube if I ever decide.
This one's just better. Anyway.
The other ending, for those who don't know, you break it. He wakes up back at home, and then he goes back out. I think he hears his mother calling. He goes out into the field, and then it says "Savior not found."
And the game crashes.
And then it crashes.
And you get sort of an Undertale genocide where you try to boot the game up, and there's nothing.
Yeah, you can't see.
You just get another error.
And then the other one is if you close it without saving at any point, you kill Nico, which I think is a really
and when you open the game,
thing.
the screen just shows the broken bulb in his scarf and says, you killed Nico.
Yeah.
And that's all, that's arbitrary and mean.
Yeah, it feels really backhanded.
And I'm glad they removed that, because it's bad.
I really have an adoration, though, for people who manage to make these characters who are just so charming and adorable. It's the same with Rousey, it's the same with Azrael, it's the same with,
I'm surprised in the end that I grew to very much like the World Machine, actually. Of all characters.
Well, I do think that it's really interesting how they managed to express the idea of a machine being scared.
It struck a chord with me, because I've been going through my own mental stuff recently, and just the notion of self-conflict, self-awareness has become very important. I mean, almost sort of a core value. I mean,
his biggest struggle right now is confidence in that his decisions are correct and certainty in his decisions.
Right.
But that's a long-term thing that takes a lot of work.
That's shifted. Now it's more a matter of understanding my own true motives. I find that I make a lot of excuses, and over time, I've come to start believing them, which is a very harmful thing to believe.
Yes. And
so I feel more and more that a lot of the world's problems might be caused by people believing their own lies.
I mean, that's true in a sense. I don't want to get too political or philosophical in that sense.
And that sort of was instrumental with the ending there, you know?
Yes.
His own believing that this is beyond his capability, this is impossible.
In a less dicey interpretation of that, I will say that on the personal level, on an introspective level, anyone, I mean, I have my own self-confidence issues that I believe 100%. And I'm sure, despite how many times people will tell me it, I'll probably never believe them fully in the case that my mind is so set that those things are incorrect.
That said, it's essential to be aware
Yes.
of these.
Because if you're not aware of it, then you're going to continue believing it's a truth because you don't see that it could not be the truth.
It's a lot easier to fight it when you understand that it's not valid necessarily. At least, if not on an emotional, on an intellectual level.
Mm-hmm. And
there's sort of a id, ego, superego, Freudian psychology thing.
I think that there's more of that in Milton.
I know you mentioned that. I mean, not Freudian psychology that I'll just turn my nose up at.
So, having seen the full game, I can see a lot more connections to Undertale than in the original aspect of the game as the Game Jam does. Because to me, the original Game Jam version feels a lot more like I'm scared. It's based on puzzles. It's a metagame where the computer is talking to you. And it's a game where you have to deal with files on your computer and other aspects to complete it.
And you still do in this extended.
Yeah, but in this one, I can see where the corollaries with Undertale come through, in that there's a permanent sense of finality to the game, even though in a completely objective sense, you could delete the files and start over. There's the sense that your consequences are affecting other characters while still emphasizing that the characters are characters in a story. And there's the idea that you can get such an emotional bond to characters despite the fact that they are truly fictitious. The characters are written with enough sincerity and enough depth that you really could feel them as people. That's why, even though I was dissatisfied with the ending of the first part, there was still enough in me to create fan art of the game. And it really feels like, having not experienced any of this except knowing basically what it was about to figure out what to even do. The second ending and the story leading up to it really does put a lot of kind of tone that almost matches what I put in my drawing, with the kind of conflicted emotions and feeling kind of trapped with what decision to be made.
My suspension of disbelief broke. It was destroyed.
How's that?
I can handle it when games get that meta, but if they go on with that too long, eventually my brain just sort of stopped following some things and just started nodding along, I'll have to admit.
See, that doesn't... I feel like it actually increases my sense of the world being real.
It made a lot of the rules and what was happening feel a lot more arbitrary. Yes.
I can see how that can be the case. And so there's this conversation that comes to be with a lot of so I've dealt a lot with marketing and shopping in retail and how long I've worked with it, especially because of kind of my path in retail that I've taken, of understanding the idea of impulse. And a big, heavy part of impulse is putting a lot of emphasis on that, if something has a strong enough emotional pull, like a necessity, they'll buy it anyway. But if it's something where you're trying to make a new sale, and you're trying to get people either curious to try something, or if it's something that's not necessarily, that isn't a necessity, then time is of the essence. The longer you take for them to think about it, the less interest they'll have in the product. So that's why you'll see candy up at the registers. Because if you find it in aisle 3 and they walk through the whole store, by the time they get to the other end, they'll be like, do I really need this candy bar? I really don't need this candy bar, and so they'll set it on some random shelf that a cashier or that a florist says he has to put away. So don't do that because it sucks.
Especially if it's perishable. That's
a big sin.
That's illegal in my book.
But regardless, the idea is the making people think about it enough is going to subtract from it. I think that's what's happening with Shin is you're putting too much busy work on it instead of gameplay. It really kind of also depends on how
making you think about it too much.
Yeah. It really also kind of depends on your personality because for me, the fact that I'm interacting with more of the computer and it's not bound to its own window, it feels fuller to me because there's more to it. Now, I will say it is a problem in a game if you make people look for files and don't tell them where to find the files, because then you're spending so much time looking that you're not playing the game anymore.
There's also the problem of how the hell do you unlock New Game Plus?
Yeah, I don't know how you get to this New Game Plus without being told how to do it.
It's a lot to program into your game without making
an express way to
reach it, because I feel it's something you want the players to reach and the players want to reach. It's not even like the Undertale Genocide route, which is all upset hidden behind something that
it's begging you not to.
Right, where they put in there, but they don't want you to get it. This, they clearly is a desirable outcome.
At least to an extent. I feel like some players would play through the first part of the game and feel like they've made the right choice and move on, and never even know about it.
So this is for people who know they want to save everything.
Yeah, they want a true... I mean, it's kind of like how technically, in a smaller scale, in Undertale, even in the true pacifist ending, you have to do a normal ending.
You do.
You don't have to go back after that. You don't necessarily feel like...
But most people are going to be left feeling unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Because the normal ending is not satisfying. There's no closure.
Mm-hmm.
And that was clearly deliberate.
And so if you look, though... So I'm trying my best to lure Shin into more story-based games.
That's still going to be a hard sell.
And as it is...
This game did involve... I know the first session of this game was my least favorite, because it involved me doing a lot of the thing I hate doing the most in games.
What?
Wandering around, trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing.
Which I can understand that, but that really comes more from being puzzle games, and puzzle games tends to lend themselves to story-based games.
There's a reason I don't like point-and-click adventures.
Which really sucks, because I know of at least 3 point-and-click adventures that have a really good story.
Which makes it weird that I like Metroid so much.
Yeah, no. Metroidvanias are completely god dang it in some cases.
I guess it's just that there's... more, well... I feel that when it's gone, there's still not what's as dominant as in this kind of game. When that's happening, that's all that's happening.
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, in a Metroidvania, when you're wandering around trying to figure out what to do, you're still fighting enemies.
Right, I mean, Metroid games, just moving around can feel pretty satisfying.
That's why I don't know why you don't like Axiom Verge.
Unless I check it with the art style, but my memories are vague.
Because to me, Axiom Verge feels like a Metroid game from its look. I've never played it, even though I think I own it. But,
I was skeptical, but yeah, I'm satisfied. Probably feels like something in me says I shouldn't be.
See, and I think that after this interpretation of getting to see this, I do feel like this is what I was looking for from it.
My inner critic says there are a lot of problems in the story. It just...
Oh, no, I agree.
It just lost track.
I think there are a lot of problems with the game, but especially if you put it in this perspective of it taking a month, maybe they were like, well, I want to do more with this, but I don't have any time, so I got to submit
I
what
hope
I have.
that's what happened.
Which is fair.
But there's something interesting.
What?
This game has 6 endings.
Let's see, I know this one, the 2 choices, the killing Nico. I know there's a way you can complete the game early, end the game early.
All I know is what the ending page on the wiki said. So there's 6 endings. I scrolled up to the ones that were in the Game Jam version, saw something called the Solstice ending, which I'm pretty sure is what we got.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw that title, I just stopped.
Yeah. The Solstice ending is what we had.
Don't remember to type Solstice twice.
Yeah. But yeah, so
I'm gonna just look up what the other ones are because I have no desire to get through myself because this is
complete.
This is how it should end. Oh, let's just look at it. Yeah, sure.
So, return the sun, return home, and playing again.
Oh, and the Steam version. Oh yeah, quitting the game just saved. It's not ending.
Yeah.
Post Solstice. Wait, you said there were 6 endings. Lie to me. Arena answering yes. You can return to play the game. Blue is no longer in the refuge. The Hello Penguin room is available. What? And all of them are treated as if they were the first run, and so no closes the game. After you post Solstice, you don't even delete the fake save.
Oh, so it lets you play through, but they've replaced themselves with.
Wait, are those the only? You said there were 6 endings. Wait, scrolling up to the very top. Oh, all the endings. You said there were 6. Unless you're counting the Game Jam version and the Steam versions of the same endings as different endings. What?
Only difference is fatal, error, saver.
Oh, you done bamboozled me and did a bad way. I'm disappointed, you Wiki.
Oh, another one says all hope in the world. Yeah. Generally, I don't like how bleak the original is, what it comes down to. Even not so much as far as closure, but just the fact that in all endings, there's no good ending. There's a save the world and have a kid permanently trapped there, or let the kid go free and the entire world dies, and hypothetically the kid would also have to suffer the guilt of letting a world die, even if through a dream. It would be like a really, really powerful nightmare.
Right, you might just consider that. Those happen. To most people. You can say I have nightmares that bad.
I have nightmares, but not common. Very uncommon.
My nightmares are just the generic, boring stuff.
Oh no, mine are usually a little more personal, but they're just...
Usually I forgot to wear some important article of clothing, or my teeth are falling out, that kind of stuff.
My dreams in general, I believe, are more personalized than your dreams.
Well, I think mine are personalized. They're just not interesting.
Mine, like I've said many times before, mine consistently take place in malls. Even before, like, Mallsoft and Vaporwave was anywhere in my
Even
consciousness.
before malls existed.
In my consciousness, I had lots of dreams involving malls, all the way back to, like, when I was in high school.
Do you really want to be in a mall?
I like malls.
You want to live in a mall?
That would depend on what the context of living in a mall.
Do you want to destroy the mall?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't want to destroy anything. So... So, let's see, what are some other aspects of the game? So,
if they're not a cat, what are they? Or are they a cat?
Are they a kemonomimi?
We don't even know.
But the other thing is, they could just be a person with kind of cat-like face, I suppose.
They could be.
Wearing just a hat that happens to have cat ears, because that's really what people say, is they're the cat because of those. And I guess the little things in his hair look like whiskers on the front of the face.
You don't know. I mean, I'm assuming they're not contacts.
But yeah, they do have big eyes and they're cat-style.
We've never seen the face of anyone else from their world.
Mm-hmm. It's
like been informed that that's normal.
Yeah, and also that actual cats also exist, and that planes also exist. So this does kind of go back to an article that I'm in the process of writing, but won't be out for a few months still. About the idea of these really character and story driven types of games, and how I think part of the reason they're so effective and popular now is that there's so much less interpersonal social interaction anymore because of the internet. Because most of the things that involve the computer don't generate a important chemical called oxytocin, except for basically like looking at cute things. And
I think that could be a serious problem in modern society.
absolutely. And I think it also could be part of the
A
reason
major
that,
cause of modern loneliness and depression.
yes. But I also think even besides that, again, this is me treading very closely to the topics I don't like. I feel like it could be why things like political parties are so at each other's throats these days. Is because of the fact that part of oxytocin is allowing you to develop care for others who you have something in common with. And since everyone bubbles themselves in these little social groups with only people they agree with and leave everyone else out, they've built a strong bond with people who they agree with and have no real interaction with people they don't, meaning that there's no social interpretation for them to be seen as part of what you are.
That's strange because the internet should make it easier for people to interact with people outside of their group.
Well, you don't have the physical interaction. People meet face to face at conventions. People meet face to face at D&D events or things like that. People don't just go down to the library and hang out with 3 of their friends and talk and then go home. And especially because of the way culture has shifted, people definitely don't talk about topics that they disagree with each other on, and so they don't disagree, and they don't come to understandings about why they disagree. They just hide all of their personal opinions on it. Because even, look what happens if you were to go into, like, Twitter in 2017, while the iron was still hot, and tell a bunch of Undertale fans that Undertale is the worst game you've ever played.
You know, I've seen someone who's always guilt-tripping themselves because it's cringy to be an Undertale.
Yeah.
Stand that.
Because they've been socially ostracized, probably from someone they care about.
Because I look over on Steam and look at its rating, overwhelmingly positive. No, people love it.
And the other thing is to keep in mind, fandom as a term has about 3 separate meanings, and one of them is a very dark place to be. Closer to the cliche of what an otaku is. Whereas...
Which now has several meanings up in its own.
Yeah, because now some people celebrate being otaku, whereas the original implication of an otaku was...
creepy and gross.
Your creepy basement-dwelling person who might possibly be a little bit of a predator kind of implication.
And it's fine to live in a basement.
Yeah, but it's still not healthy. There's nothing wrong with it. The biggest problem with living in a basement is people who
don't be
shirk responsibility, and that's why they live in a basement.
We're saying is, humans still need actual human contact.
Yes, that's a big thing that the article I'm writing pleads for, is the idea of please still go out and talk with people. Please interact on a personal level.
I'm definitely in support of this article, then.
Yeah, it's a long one, and it's mostly done, but it won't be published until the journal it's in published.
Where's this coming from?
Signals, or virtual signals. I'm in 2 issues of it already.
I mean, what's driving it here?
I've had a lot of emotional reaction to this whole situation. Visual signals. I always write it wrong. Because reasons. Visual signals. So it says visual signals. Oh, this one just says visual. So I'm in issue 5. I don't know how to see this.
Oh, it's a Gundam.
Well, that's because there's a lot of interesting Japanese culture.
Gundam. I think you're so passionate about such things. Anyway, I think we should probably end the stream.
Passionate? What do you mean?
Just, I don't know. Didn't know you thought a lot about that kind of stuff.
like social interaction and
Philosophy and
no,
mentality.
I think about those things a lot. It's just I know that a lot of the things I say go into the socially unpopular, and so I won't talk about them other than maybe one-on-one with people I feel won't go at my throat about it. And so when I talk about it on here, I'm already dancing around it enough to make it stream appropriate.
New color.
Oh yeah, it's an old
Yep.
GameCube ad. I want the orange one. I want the orange GameCube. Buy me an orange GameCube.
It's funny about these dicey. I feel sometimes I'm sure it's a romanticized ideal. It's something in me wants to just go out there and say, if you have a problem, bring it. That might be because I've never actually had to confront such a thing in reality.
Yeah, it really comes from just how much more dangerous it's gotten.
You mean social dangerous?
Yeah. Because I've seen people I care about literally driven off the internet. I've seen people who had to move house over it. I've heard of people who've lost their jobs over it.
And at the same time, I can't exactly say the people who instigated are cruel. They just don't understand what they're doing.
Oh no, I know for a fact that at least a couple of the cases were deliberate acts of malice. Because one of them found the person's address based on things they'd shopped online because they happened to buy something from the place where the person owned, found their address and started threatening them and showing them their address, telling them that if they didn't stop what they were doing, that they would come for it. Tribalism. People get into their groups and then they want to get rid of everyone who's not in their group base. That's part of why I have so much problem with talking the subject online. It's part of why I don't like having my name online. It's part of why I don't talk at all about my job. I won't wear shirts with my job on it. I won't wear anything that, like, a hat with the job on it. I get really uncomfortable if someone, like, calls for my name from the stairs or whatever, hoping that it's not picked up on. I don't want anything relating to my real life to blend in. Because if I happen to say something that ends up upsetting the wrong person,
And everything
I've
you say
seen
will upset somebody.
yeah, I've seen exactly what can happen, and so I don't want to risk it at all.
I guess I'm still a bit too innocent to be afraid of it.
Which, hopefully you get to stay that way. I would love that your whole life you never even have to encounter a person who makes life that complicated for you.
Right. I want my innocence to be justified.
Yeah. And so, but that's another part of why I do enjoy doing the art I do, is because in the communities where I've drawn my art and stuff, I get a lot of positive feedback. I actually have patrons now. I can't believe it. I have patrons.
That you don't know very personally?
Yeah,
Cool.
One of them I don't know if I've ever talked to them before.
Oh, just because they like your art?
Yeah.
I mean, they come a long way.
If you compare, let's see if I can find my old, I'll even post this on the stream. Let me find my really old.
I very much like your shading.
So I've worked hard on my shading ever since I was complimented shading for the first time.
Yeah.
Which came from, I don't even know where that piece is and how to get there quickly. So I made this, and someone specifically complimented. They were talking about the drawing, and they said, of everything, I really think you have very good shading skills. So
I don't care much for the abstract, but
see, that's unfortunate about your less interest in vaporwave, is because the abstract is such a concrete part of it.
It has to be abstract.
Yeah. Well, there's even an actual movement within it called massurrealism that kind of made that. That's part of where it comes from. Well, yeah, I can cut it. But yeah, so this was the original piece that I got compliments on for. And since then, I just decided I would put as much effort into that, and then over time I learned more and more about how to draw. And
it's really nice seeing this side.
Well, I wish I could talk about this kind of stuff more, but most of the social places where I go, are dead. I mean, almost every Discord server that I'm in, I am a lot of the conversation.
Yeah, I've been talking when you invite to because I still don't quite understand what it's about. Even.
It's just a hangout spot with some of my friends.
I don't know anyone.
It's just like
there.
that. Well, that's how you make friends. And here, I'm really sad that no one talks in here because I know so many of these people and none of them talk in here. Some of them talk in other servers, and I've even kind of teased them about, you never talk in my server. But generally, just a lot of them don't talk on Discord, which sucks because of all the places that are social outlets, Discord is probably my most comfortable.
Most of my conversation on Discord goes to a place revolving around a specific topic.
I do know that.
Once to talk about this, I will go to the Discord about. I don't really have any just hangouts.
348,000. Okay. This is from the beginning of the year.
Oh.
Well, I guess it was literally the end of last year.
Really like seeing you proud of some part of yourself here.
I made this as a follow-up just recently. I want to go back to Japan, but they extended the travel bans because of illness.
We need to get a closer Japan.
Just turn my hometown into a Japan.
Oh, that's gonna be
Expensive. That's what it is. It's expensive. But yeah,
you mean Christmas?
So it all started. The whole reason I even got into this, other than that, was on lunch. I'm generally not hungry enough to buy food, which I know is different from you.
Oh yeah, I'm worried about. I'm worried about my house. I'm hungry right now.
Every lunch period, so what I would do is I brought a sketchbook. Originally, I started writing, and that's actually how I finished a couple of my stories that are up online and haven't had to use them. But I then eventually switched to drawing because, one, I got more reactions from drawing because nobody reads, and two,
That's
because I got a lot of just kind of characters I wanted drawn and no one else would draw them, so I was like, well, I guess I'll do it myself.
I do envy your ability, though I do understand it is a consequence of my own lack of drive, but I'm definitely happy that you reached this level.
Gotta see if I can find, because I have like the ultimate example of my drawing skill going from atrocious to decent. And one thing I've definitely learned from drawing and seeing other people is every once in a while, even people who aren't necessarily particularly capable of their drawing yet will just hit the right note and make something really, really good. And so that's why if someone does have an idea, I would like them to at least try and make it. Because, like, oh, this is... it might even be scrapped. I don't remember what it is.
It's a matter of, again, be aware of the lies you tell yourself. That's important.
I have a lot of art. I have 4,600 drawings and pictures and writings online. And because of the way that the folders work and it counting the same picture in different folders, I have 5,000 pictures of my 4,000 images. Where is that? Under the My Little Pony. Because it's a My Little Pony. Unless I move it to scraps, because scraps get pulled out of in folders. Might also be. Oh no, there it is. So if you compare this drawing to this drawing to this drawing, which this one and these are 2 years apart, and this one was like 2012. Yeah, 2012. So here I made him look like Badameus from, I don't even remember what the hell the cartoon is. So if I go to So this is one of my earliest drawings I posted online. That's a pencil drawing that wasn't one of my spontaneous epiphany moments where I actually made something that actually looks better than this in my honest opinion. And then from there, a couple of years later, this drawing, this would have been 4 years later. And at this point, I still only barely understood undersketching. When I made that first drawing was before I learned anything about drawing, like actual drawing. And then this one, which was made now 3 years ago, is when I joined a place that
Undersketching is just drawing really soft, right?
What?
Undersketching is just drawing really soft.
Well, sort of. Undersketching is specifically making frames of the things you're going to draw over the top.
Oh, the circles and the lines.
Yeah, the circles and lines.
lines.
So where my original learning came from is the idea that ponies. Oh no.
You're so sick.
No, Sosik is bad.
Oh, right. Gnosis.
You don't want a sausage pony, so you can't see his ears.
Right. That's how you avoid so.
But yeah, so ponies, you can't see my cursor, but ponies are a circle, which is the head, and a bean, which is the body. Ponies are a circle and a bean. It's the rules. And
sticks.
And I'll be honest, a lot of times when I do undersketching, I still totally botch it. And when I do, I end up like making the head this big.
Ooh.
And then once the head is this big, I draw the face, and I have to shrink the head to this big because I realize that the proportions just won't work right.
And then, oh no.
Well, no, you don't even ever see it look weird. I just realize really quickly that I'm like, this isn't the right dimensions for the face I've drawn.
Heck.
And I have plenty of pieces where I definitely can notice my improvement, such as, my newer ones of Terry, or my newest ones.
Like that a lot.
I'm really proud of how well it came out.
I love it.
So this
Great.
It's
very good.
Melody, the Axolotl character I have.
Melody.
Which actually came from. So I'm in a Discord an art server on Discord, and one of the characters, or they had like a mascot competition.
That.
And when they had this mascot competition, it might even still be somewhere in the old announcements from like.
Oh yeah, they were submitted for that.
No, I didn't submit Melody for that. What ended up happening was, there was a mascot competition, and someone made an axolotl. Okay, so this is the one that ended up becoming the mascot here. This is the bird.
Bird?
So this was the one that won the competition a few years ago. For the art extravaganza, or art plaza. And before that, though, there were different proposal characters. And one of them was a white axolotl with the pink and blue. And I told the person who made it, it would be really cool if you made one in black with yellow, blue, and green. And they said, I like the idea, but those aren't the colors for the Discord. And then they make a lot of art already, so they lots of Pokemon. The artists, and they make a lot of art, so they didn't really have time to just make a whatever art.
I mean, it's makes you wonder.
But so finally I was like, fine, I'll just draw it myself because I have free time and nothing to do a lot of the time, and so I drew. This is either my first or second drawing of this character.
Damn good.
It's either my first or second drawing of Melody.
I believe in pencils. Just ooh.
And so I was really excited because I happened to discover I had some fluorescent colored pencils, and that's what I made. Let's see. Nope, it has to have been my first because I have it in black and white. If it's not, this is the other one that might be the first one. 8, 10, 18 versus... Well, that one's for Halloween. Oh.
I don't know.
8/14, so 4 days apart. So this one's my
Just
first
the-
one, right?
Just the pose on that is something.
It's really weird to draw, because so a lot of people when you see they draw anthro, draw them very human but with animal heads. I mean, there's still a little bit of mannerisms, but you'll see it a lot where they're mostly just either really human with an animal head or they're really, really animal with slightly human characteristics. But I kind of like to blend in the middle somewhere.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you'll see,
I think
the
that's
axolotl still has less of the more human type neck and has a little bit of a hunch to the upper part of their body because they're like this
Right.
instead of having their head just forward.
Right, right. I like it better that way.
And so if you look,
Who dat?
this
No, behind that.
raccoon.
No, next to that.
Oh, the dragoon.
Yeah.
That's one of the people in the Discord
Ah.
on that.
I
But-
think the point thing I couldn't even see.
So let's see if I can help.
Oh,
So with Terry, for example, a lot of times when you see anthros of rabbits, although it's less common now, you'll see plenty of people who do this. But a lot of times you see them, they'll be the Bugs Bunny type, where they're still plantigrade.
yeah.
And so I drew Terry specifically to digitigrade, and here he has like really thick hips for some reason.
That's a rabbit thing.
That wasn't intentional, but he has a real donk in this picture. But he specifically, I wanted to make him digitigrade because of the fact that I think it looks better on those type of characters.
I like it.
And so I tried to make, and so like here's Evane.
Alright.
I drew a vein. I didn't want just a standard upright, although it's also part because I wasn't just good at drawing at this time, but they're
It's
kind
fine.
of leaning a little bit off to the side and
It's fine
obviously
to-
a little more awkward in their
Right.
body
It's
shape.
fine if they look awkward. They're supposed to.
Yeah, and so I was like, it worked pretty well for that.
It's canon.
And then sometimes I just draw weird things. Like this was based off. I had the idea that
The squeaks.
of mixing a squid and a passion flower,
Not sure what part of the ocean you find that. in.
and so this is kind of a more just fantasy creature. I don't know where the idea came from, but I liked how it came out, and so I decided to show it. I have several Raocow fan art things. I've drawn Demo Family. That's actually no. That's where I got my compliment on my shading, because of the fact that what I did was so
Raocow.
abstract.
Oh,
No, because so the first person I drew was Mishi, and Mishi has the ability to like manipulate things through psychic ability.
always good.
Type either her.
Oh.
And so when I was making it, I specifically
Nope.
I specifically yeah. I specifically made the character have the eye inverted in colors. And so if you I don't know if you might be able to. Oh no, that'll just invert selected.
Oh, she has squares too. It's square.
This was what this came from I liked how they looked in Twilight Princess. But if you look,
But there's some Tetris there.
so her
Tetris.
eye in the games is golden. And did it just control eye still?
Nope.
Somehow you can invert the image still. You gotta remember how to do it.
These are sure have sleeves.
It doesn't have sleeves, it has flow to like
Ah.
wind blowing. What did I do?
Ooh, there's some inverted squares too. Oh.
Yeah, the inverted squares are the ones closest. How do you invert image? I know
have
you
no
can,
idea.
because I've done it a bunch of times. Oh, invert color, there we go. So if you look, the eye is still golden when it's reversed, and the pupil's black, and the lighting is white.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
She's blue, like she should be.
no, because only her eye is affected by the magic ether. And so this isn't like official or anything. This actually came from I thought it would be a kind of cool idea. I don't know where I just what did I say what I do?
I'm starting to
I
run out of energy, and I need to get around for work.
I'll kick you out.
Ah,
Where did I save it? It should be here. It says hey.
that's not good.
Hey. Yeah, it's in the picture.
Oh,
Oh, there it is. Hey. And this. This way. So the eye and the pupil and the shading is for that. And so when I made this, someone said that they thought that my shading was particularly impressive. And so then I was like, yeah, I'm decent at shading. So I started working on shading. And over time, I started feeling happier and happier with my actual shading and started, I guess it actually goes back before this. I don't remember what it was then. But at some point, someone commented me on my shading and I started working on shading. Because I didn't color anything until after I'd started learning how to shade. And, so I started, just doing a little bit whenever I could. Originally, it was every few days I would try something at work. Now, most of the time, unless I'm just really not feeling good or I'm tired at work or whatever, most of the time I will draw at lunch. That's what I'll do for lunch, because I don't usually feel hungry enough to bother getting food at lunch. But in general, that's how I started doing it. And I don't think that it takes a lot of, major work as long as you just take the time. I think that's the biggest thing. Everyone hates the original practice. Everyone hates the original practice. Everyone thinks everything they do sucks at first, and everyone thinks they do sucks later because they always think everything they do sucks. It's just part of doing art inherently. Unless you just happen to have the right confidence levels and the right, personality and mindset, you're gonna think everything you do sucks all the time, but you just keep doing it anyway. And I think that's a big part of what it comes down to is just the dedication. And so just do it. Just go out and practice. Do just that one. What's his face with the Nike commercials and the do it and the don't let your dreams be dreams. Do it, and then the explosion in the background. Do
what
it.
are we talking about?
Just do it.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
so
do what?
Whatever, drawing, writing, whatever, just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams.
And if you were telling yourself you can't, take a deeper look and figure out where that is coming from. You might be fooling yourself.
Part of the reason Shin says he can't is because he gets bored with everything very quickly.
Right. A lot of the time I'm a big role player, and I'm having a lot of time actually contributing productively on my own. My mental blocks, they're because of my own fear being sublimated into a variety of excuses that I fell for.
Mm-hmm.
But not to confront that fear because I see it for what it is. Useless. You.
But yeah. So I wish Shin would draw or something more.
I feel that urge, though I don't know how long. I doubt it'll stick with me long enough to do it, because I can't really do that in my place.
Yeah, but you can do it at home.
But I have so many things I want to do that are higher on my priority list. Games to play. I have games to play. I have games to play.
That's not so many things. That's one
There's
large matrix of things.
Role play is the role play.
Yeah, but you have to be with other people.
A phone.
Anyway, so I'm rating Andy Banana. He is playing Back for Blood, or as he's titled it, Back for Those Buns.
Actually, he is. Yeah, well, whatever he plays. He's the fish.
He's back for those buns. So we're going to go over to his. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day and afternoon, morning, wherever you are. Hope to see you again real soon. Take care.
Well, that was a good palate cleanser for the first run.